is important stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
She made some. We're gonna talk about the changes as suggested. I see Chef just came in too. We're gonna talk about the changes that's suggested by Nikki last week, just in the imaging portion of it, and then Robert is going to give us some insight into what he sees about the way that branding should be done on there. And we're just going to have a great blab. It's going to be really, really interesting, even with you in here.
And that's unusual.
Even with you in here, it promises to be fun.
Yeah, we tried. Hey, before we get started, folks, on the left-hand side, we've been having some great blabs this month, and they're going to continue on into March. But tell a little bird on the left side, also where it says post to your Facebook friends there. Do that. Let the folks know where you're at. That's improper English, but that's the way I am. /Q space and type your question if you want to ask a question. And then it'll appear in the question box, and I'll make this one an animated GIF. So we got that out of the way. And if you forget what I said, most people do, at the bottom where it says send a message, click on the slash bar there. It'll bring up a menu, and it'll have the /Q, and you can you'll be able to ask your question then. Tony, do you have something pulled up that you can read from for the beginning of this or not? We can't hear you, Tony. Tony's got some technical difficulties this morning. So you know what? I'm just going to go into it and start it, Stan, if that's okay. And if it's
that's the way we roll, man. That's what we do, right?
Yep. What we're going to do today, it's approximately 25 minutes on how to brand your blab across multiple networks using Canva. Who are we? We are the circadian community, and it isn't built around one individual. We live, work, and thrive in a guru-free zone. Everyone is equal, everyone matters, and everyone has their own special gift. The sum of those gifts being greater than any one individual. We create event-driven, outcome-oriented business-building platforms, broadcasts, websites, content, training programs, and more, just like we're doing here. But mostly we operate in a guru-free zone, getting stuff done. We welcome the opportunity to elaborate on that. Just ask for an invitation to our community today by emailing youmatter@thecircadians.com. We have a manifesto, and the Circadian Way is part of that manifesto. And I'm going to pull out one sentence that I always like, and it's my favorite, is never accept mediocrity as a benchmark. Always try to do your best. The rules of Blab, there are some, but they're not really rules. The Blab team doesn't have rules, but it's kind of an agreement or guidelines they would like the communities to follow. One is respect each other, honor the viewer's time, let others talk, don't be an awful person to be around, argue the point, not the person. The host sets the rules to the party unless they conflict with these rules. The top three, they're all common sense, but the top three, what I want to make clear is honor the viewer's time and let others talk. If you when we invite people into the seat, state your question or your comment on the topic. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then respect that time and let others in, and that makes it nice that if people want to get in and join, they can. Here's the big one that I always I'm a stickler on this. It's argue the point, not the person. It's okay to disagree, we have disagreements. We don't agree with everything everybody says, but it's not okay to make it personal. And what I mean by that is, okay, you can say, Stan, I don't agree with what you're saying. Here's my point of view, and here's why I think that way. And I'd appreciate if you consider what I have to say, and we can discuss it. It's not okay to say, Stan, I disagree with what you're saying. And, you know, I've been watching you for a long time, and I think you're just an out and out idiot for the way you say that. And you do it all the time. And I don't like it. That's not the way to argue the point. And you're not going to be respected for it. And you might not get into other blabs either. There are people that we learn from, and we want to recognize. Robert Stern is one, Chef Dennis, Eileen Smith. There's a whole list and too many to go through. And I just don't want to take the time to do that. And so I am back. Stan, I'm going to turn it over to you.
That means I have to turn on my mic, right?
Well, you know, sometimes it's good if you don't. You know, we always, well, it's not that we always know that you talk too much, but it's okay. We got a lot to talk about today and go over it on branding, and it's all good stuff. And like you said, you learned some stuff last week, or we all did last week with Nikki, and followed through with it yesterday. So
I'm going to emphasize one thing here is that, you know, we all have favorite parts about what we do. One of the favorite parts that I do about the circadian community is that, you know, everyone's equal. Everyone matters. Everybody has their own special gift. So when you're looking at what you're experiencing today is that, like, Tony's having some technical issues, and Ron's on audio only for me right now. But the way that we operate is that the actual host to this party isn't even here. So everybody that you see in this blab are equal. And so every now and then you might experience and be here, which has happened over the course of the 150 or so blabs that we've done. Every now and then you'll see somebody, and sometimes it's kidding and sometimes it's not, but every now and then you'll see somebody just boot somebody else out. That's because we all have equal footing in here. The big guy on the block, the big man on campus, as the expression goes, is the circadian actual entity. That's who actually runs these, and that's what allows us to share them and allows us to operate sometimes in places where some people haven't been able to successfully do them. So what we're doing today is we are talking about branding. We're talking about how to brand your blabs or anything using there's Robert, using Blab. Using Canva.
Hey, Robert, I'm going to refresh. I'm going to be back in a minute and see if that doesn't clear some stuff up for me.
Hey, Robert, I see we got the memo on red.
Yep.
That's awesome, man. I'm glad that shows that we're all on that same plane. But we're going to be talking about, I'm going to give you a link down here. And this link is going to, if you click on this link, you're going to go to a page that has some Canva images on it. And what we're going to be talking about is how we use Canva to brand that. You'll be able to click on that link, go to that page, it'll bring it up in another window. You'll still be able to have this window open so you can hear me talking to you about that. And before you get there, I'm going to tell you this point blank. We're not the branding experts, right? What we're really talking to you about is how to use Canva to get those images out there and to easily create those images across the social network so that you're not struggling with that portion of it. Robert, I see that who else is up there? Tim is up there. Marty's up there. I see Chef is up there. Those guys, they're branding guys. They can tell you more about that kind of stuff than I do. What we do is take the suggestions that our hosts give us, and I'm actually going to talk a little bit about that from Nikki Purvey's suggestion last week. So if you go to that those Canva images, awesome. This is just great because I'm getting a message that says an error occurred and we weren't able to load your designs. Is anybody else getting that message, or is it just me?
I have it up.
You do. That is awesome. That is just an indication of how wonderful technology is when everybody else can pull your stuff up, but you can't do it yourself. So I'm going to click on this thing one more time. Okay, I've got it now. Okay, so let's look at the very first image that says streaming video Twitter. When you look at that image says death to the stockphoto.com, and it's got like stanbush.net. It's got a couple of logos on there. That's because this particular image is for a project where I'm reviewing all of the free sites that, you know how you go to a site and it says, oh, I've got free images. Well, I'm reviewing a bunch of those. I've done, I think, 8 reviews for them so far. And this, you can find those over at stanbush.net. But let's go down at the bottom of this. You're going to see little numbers. It says page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Page 2 shows you the image that we use for how to use Blab. These are exact Twitter sizes. If you look up to the right-hand side, you'll see a streaming video Twitter post dash 1024 times 512. That tells you the exact, if you're not using Canva, it tells you the exact image that you need to make these images in, the exact size of the image. Number 3 shows you how to host a Blab, no BLABBUS Interruptus, with Andy Lyons. Number 4 has how to embed a Blab, which was Nikki Purvey yesterday. And today's we have how to brand your Blab across multiple sites using Canva with special guest host Robert Stern. And you'll see those, each one of these have this kind of a standard look to them, except for the number 6, which is the casual Friday. And the reason it's not is because I haven't gotten to that portion yet, because the suggestion, what we took last week from the branding Blab that we had, was that we should change some of the, we were at the time we were using all Railway Heavy for the font. And so the suggestion was that we change the fonts on them and that we use a different font for the guests. And so we've implemented that. And whatever Robert suggests this week, we're going to implement that, because we know he knows what he's talking about when it comes to this stuff. Anybody that's watched the way that he's grown and the things that he's done know that he's got that down. So I'm going to close this one, use the big X up there and close that one. I'm going to go to the next one, which is streaming video YT, which stands for YouTube. And you're going to see pretty much the same images as you walk through those, except for we're not doing YouTube as much as we should, so you don't see those images caught up to date. Let's pick one that is up to date. How about, let's see, this one is streaming video post, video clinic. I'm trying to find, it's a different set of images. So anyway, basically when you look at these though, and you go to like the one that says streaming video clinic Blab cover, the dimensions on that are actually 1,000 by 450. They tell you that when you go to upload your image on Blab, which is covered in our second day of this. If you look at the number 2, it says how to host a Blab. Well, we cover how you upload an image to personalize your Blab. We cover all that stuff in that day, and the image size is there. But even still, when you look at these images, the point is that it's very easy to create those, because I'm going to close this down now, and I'm going to tell you the technique that we use to create those images. Canva is a great tool. It's got a lot of things in there. When you say, I want a YouTube, or when I want it doesn't have Blab in there, I want to create a Twitter post, it's got like a template. And that template says, this is how big it's going to be. And it's got selections for you to go over there and choose what how you want it to look. So it's very easy. But the problem with it for us is that we do a lot of repeatable, which if you do Blabs and shows and things like that, you do a lot of repeatable events. Now, how do you brand those? How do you create those events? Very easily across all the different networks. The solution for me, and I'm really open into other solutions. Solution for me, since I'm not a graphic artist, was I used the Twitter size, and I created all of the images in the exact format that I wanted. I had the background, I had the text, I had the logo, I had the pictures, I had everything that I wanted. And I had our schedule is how to use Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, or not Saturday. Saturday is we try to figure out how to use a fishing pole or a golf club, or guitar. But you use Monday is how to use, Tuesday is how to host, Wednesday is how to embed, Thursday is how to brand, and then Friday is just a casual day. So I created all those images for that one set. So I'm going to call that a set of nothing but Twitter images in that size with all the text that I wanted on it and all of the images that I wanted for the background, everything that I wanted to say as a basic template. Then I have a paid version, and somebody can correct me on this if they want, but I went to the magic resize in Canva, and I said, okay, I want you to magically resize this to, and it brings up the selection that you choose. I want this to be the YouTube image. I want the same image to be in the Instagram, to be in the Google Plus, to be in the Facebook. And so it recreated all of those images in the exact sizes with all of the stuff already there. Now, it's true that it doesn't work. You might find this hard to believe, but it doesn't work perfectly. So you have to go over and kind of manipulate those, but it's easier than recreating. In our case, we have 5 events, and we have 5 different networks that we make sure that we broadcast those to, plus Blab. So that's 30 images. And anybody that has worked with me on this, anybody on the team can tell you I can create those images. It takes me less than between 30 seconds and a minute to create the image that would have Robert's image on, like the one today that's got Robert's image on the front of it. Took me 30 seconds to do it. Didn't take, I've got everything else set up, create that, download it. And on our team, Michelle is the one that uploads those. And so I can create those. We use a lot of different tools. I create them in Canva, download it, and put it into Google Drive, which is a shared drive between all the members, and the members that want to get those images can go get them. So that's just how we do it. But I'm going to stick with the concept of the process, which is you create it, and then you use Magic Resize to create those images across the different platforms. And then it takes that long to do it. All right, Robert, I'm going to take a minute to catch my breath and welcome you here, brother, because I remember the day. I remember when you and I met, because I was cruising around, and it was like, who is this guy? Because there was a lot of people in there watching you, and I went in and thought, this is a winner, man. This is a guy that I want to be around. So what I want to find out from you is, in what you've heard so far, what would you do differently, other than hiring a professional graphics guy? There's True. That part too,
True.
What would you do differently?
Well, I mean, first of all, each platform is obviously its own personality, whether it's Facebook or whether it's Twitter, and you got to follow the dimensions that you need for each picture. I'm a big believer in, when you're marketing that way, that you should be consistent. So if you're going to, I would probably use the same picture all week long and changing the title. And that's just me personally. See, that's the whole thing with social media and with everything else. Everybody has different ways to do it. It doesn't mean one way's wrong or one way's better or anything else. You have to be comfortable with what you're doing. So I'm more of, if you're going to use your railroad text and things like that, I would have the same image every week, background image, and then changing the information necessarily on the top. So you're keeping a consistency that people understand and that people see. So when I looked at yours, it's like, okay, so each picture is different for each of the week, which is not a bad thing either. It's a matter of opinion and how you look at it. I personally would keep it the same the whole week and just change the information on it. And the reason I believe in that is more that it's a consistent thing, that when person sees that image, they automatically in their head, after a while, know what it is. It just continuously, you're making a responsive image to a person that when they physically see it, they already know it's the circadians. They already know what it's about. The title changes what the conversation would be about, and maybe the picture of who your guest is and things like that. So if you notice on other people's Blab show cards, they're always the same exact background. The exact same background every time. They just change the wording. So when I see a certain color schematic or a certain thing, I don't even have to read the words. I already know who that person is. So it's that consistency in branding. It's kind of like a logo, if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
So by using a logo, they literally have it branded, and you see that logo without the wording, they automatically know what that is.
Well,
I'm just throwing it out there.
I'm going to tell you that's why you're in here, man, because I'm going to see. I know you may find this hard to believe, but I know this is going to get a big laugh out of Robert. I mean, out of Ron. And if you could see some of the other guys in the back and that's on the team back there, when I say this, they're going to go roll their eyes, go, okay, well, okay. I have a tendency to overcomplicate things, right? So my idea was, okay, if you look at how to use that image in the background was a guy that was kind of using Blab and hosting. They had the equipment around there that they were doing a hosting thing. And when it was how to embed a Blab, if you look at the screen, it actually has the embed code from, I like created the image that actually had the embed code on the computer that the guy was looking at in the background. Way too complicated. I may like to complicate things, and I may like to have that kind of what they call a granular look at stuff. But what you're talking about is a whole lot easier. I mean,
well, because then you have the same background set up. So think about it. If you said you had 30 different things each week to make, and because you have 5 or 6 different platforms that you go to, and you have the basic set up, all you do is add the wording and the pictures. You said it takes 30 seconds to a minute to make, it'll take you less because you have the basics of the background already set up.
I don't think it would take any less. Be honest with you,
it's just typing whatever the person is, and then uploading a person's picture if they're guest hosting and things like that. So there's a little bit extra. But the thing is, you have your Twitter set up, you have this set up, you have the Pinterest set up, you have Instagram set up, you have LinkedIn set up, any of the ones that you want to do, depending on the type of shape you need. You know, it's 900 by 450 for a show card on Blab. So if you have them all set up, it's just now each week you go in and you just change the typeface for it. Just a thought.
No, it's not. It's not a thought, because I'm going to tell you something right straight up front is because the reason you're in here is because of the knowledge that you possess about branding. That's it. Right. Mm-hmm. And so I appreciate what you're doing right now is actually consulting me. And I really appreciate it because I know that there's value in that. Mm-hmm. So the question is, if you don't mind me asking this, because this really gets into, this is really a deeper dive into like, what would that image be? Because if that image, right, you see, because you're trying to convey that this is a blab about how to use Blab and the other subjects. So how do you do that from a generic standpoint? Is that like just a blue background or an orange background and then just focus on, because one thing I did get out of it is that, wait a minute, I'm putting too much focus on that background. That takes actually away from what the message actually is. And Elise, I watched your Blab the other day, and I appreciate everything you do. I will tell you, I don't understand what you're asking about the tie. So I don't know what you're saying about it, but it's just my tie. You know, I've been wearing this tie for 30 years, probably. I know it looks like it. So anyway, I appreciate that consulting part that you're doing there. And my question is, what would you do? Would you do a solid background, or would you try to find some image, or like I'm really simple. So I start thinking maybe the Blab logo kind of blurred in the background behind it and giving it that purplish and dark colors, or.
Well, is there a logo for the Circadians?
Yes.
That's automatically on it.
Yes.
You just said it. Okay. Yep. Is there a certain color scheme for the Circadians?
Okay, that's a discussion too, because yes, there is. We picked we use orange and tangerine. You know why?
No.
They're the two happiest colors in the world. Right? Okay. That's what they are. They're the two happiest
colors. Do the colors of your logo mesh up with it well?
Yes. We think that they do. Now, it was Nikki that noticed that our logo is actually more of a text logo. and that when we and her advice, which she gave this week actually during yesterday's blab, was that traditionally the way that has worked, it's kind of that logo is actually kind of a play off of John, what's his name, the Daily Show. If you look at their logo, it's like the Daily Show, right? And they have like, this is one color, and it's kind of a play off that, using, just because I had to make it up, like, I had to make it up on the fly, right? I was like, I need a logo, I'm going to do this.
Let me ask a different question. Why did you all choose the name the Circadians?
I was running a group for Chris Brogan, and it was a how to blog group, right? And so I was the guy in the morning that met everybody. I like community stuff, so I was the guy that met everybody in the morning, and I welcomed everybody. It's kind of like an onboarding guy, right? Like everybody knew who I was and that kind of thing. And one of the things that people always ask me was like, well, how do you get all of that done, right? How do you get, well, I use checklists and I use those kind of things. Well, yeah, but I can't do this because I'm in Australia. Right, because you're on a circadian rhythm, right? We all, if you go and look at circadian rhythm, which is talking about a 24-hour cycle. So I went out and looked at it and said, okay, we're the circadians, and the circadians are on your rhythm is different in Australia than it is here, which is different than it is in Bulgaria, which is different than it is in California. And whatever your rhythm is, don't worry about that clock that says it's 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look at that clock that says it's 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and pay attention to your rhythm, and you'll be a whole lot more effective. So that's where it came from, is doing regular things, doing stuff. At our age, it's really important.
And you said there's a logo. What is the logo?
It's just a text. We actually have like a round. We have this thing that, that I don't know why I did it. It's like a round circle with the yellow and a C in the middle of it, and the circadian just kind of written, in the thing. But the one that people primarily recognize is the one that's just a text. It's just a text logo that says the Circadians. I
didn't know if you had a graphic logo or something like that. That's why I was wondering.
Not really.
Yeah, I'm more about being consistent. I think. Not necessarily a straight, it can be a straight color background. It can be a certain picture. It can be a colored graded type of picture where it's dark in the middle, light on the ends, tops, bottoms, however it is. But it doesn't have to just be color. You could have a transparent picture on top of it. In other words, you can take a picture and make it a little bit lighter, and it's on top of the color, and then the words on. So you're layering things sometimes. It's a matter of what you feel that show card, that graphic is going to be for you. But the thing is, whatever you choose, you want it to be consistent with every one of your shows. I used to do on show cards in the past. I used to do just kind of this bluish background, and I had my picture, and I've actually shied away from show cards because everybody's doing show cards now. And what's interesting is the thing I miss about the beginning of the Blab is that when there were people in the Blab, you saw their 4 faces or their 3 faces in the beginning. And now, when I was doing Blabs, I stopped doing the show cards because everybody's was show cards and mine was showing faces. So I kind of took a reverse approach. It's whatever you're comfortable with as a brand, as a company, as a person. If you like the graphics and you like that to be that way, then you do that. If you don't want to do the graphics and you want to do it as the person, as I'm saying, then you do that way. You have to do what makes you feel comfortable.
Well, this is something we're going to take back to the team to discuss, because I don't use that. I don't really use that graphic. I use the logo. I use the text a lot. I don't use the round logo that much because I don't think it looks that good, because it wasn't, how we all feel that, like, I'm not worthy kind of thing sometimes, and I created that image. And so I have a tendency to downplay my own work when it's really not that bad from some of the things that
99% of the people do what you said earlier in this blab. They overcomplicate.
Mm-hmm. The text logo is the text thing. I didn't even, be honest with you, I didn't even recognize that as a logo until one of the other guests said, well, your logo, the text logo. And I went, okay, so that's what they think the logo is. And so then I started focusing on that and thinking about what I normally have done with that logo is I have changed that logo depending on the color of the text, right? It says the circadians. Now our colors are usually are yellow and tangerine, right? It's lemon, the two happiest colors. We got black and white in there. That's basic kind of colors.
And Michael just said it best. Michael Wolf in the thing. He said, your logo is whatever you use most to represent your company.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Circadians as a company is the group of individuals trying to help people learn and understand Blab and its uses.
Mm-hmm.
So you're using it more as a company type situation where a lot of people on here are coming on individually. They have a company, but they're under their name. So the question is, are they branding their company or are they branding themselves? So there's a difference of opinion on how we look at this when we're talking about branding. Some people on here are branding for themselves. They're branding their name because even though they have a company, their name is more important than the company name.
Mm-hmm.
And others, it's the company name is more important. You have to decide individually, just like the 36 people in the room or the 96 that have gone through. Are you trying to brand yourself as a person or are you trying to brand yourself as a company name?
Yeah, that's a good point because we're actually trying to brand ourselves because everyone is equal. Everybody matters. Everybody has their own special gift. We're actually trying to brand it more as a community than it is necessarily in a person or individual. So that's a really good point.
So when we come onto this type of situation, we're talking branding, you got to talk all the different sides because we're talking about the Circadians right now, but that may not go to somebody else in the room who's branding themselves as their name.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're branding yourself as your name, it's your face, it's your name, it's what those stands for. So it's a matter of how you look at things is what's going to matter now. So, but I do agree, if you're going to do picture cards, they should be precise, they should be clear, they should be simple. And when I mean simple, I don't mean just necessarily a blue background. You can have the gorgeous picture, high definition, fading, this, that, but it should explain what the show is going to be about. But there should be some consistency to it so that when you go to the next show, it's the same brand. It's the same thing, the same thing. And the biggest thing I tell people with branding usually is that, with all the different platforms, the Facebook, the Twitters, the Pinterest, the LinkedIn, Instagram, whatever you're going to put it out, a lot of people don't schedule them till the day or two before. And you really should schedule them, in my opinion, at least 3 to 5 days before. Because you want to be able to market it. You don't want to put it out the night and a half before because you're not giving a lot of time for people to possibly clear their schedule to make sure. Maybe it's got a topic, and that's part of your branding, by the way. What is the title of the blab? That title is important to draw people in. The 5 top ways to use Facebook ads or who you're interviewing. I'm interviewing such and such person. You want that in the blab because that's important on your title, whether it's your show card or whether it's not the show card, just the avatar and the title, because you want to get that out to people. Because when I did the interview with Ted Rubin a few weeks ago, I made sure I got that out a lot. Because a lot of people do look at him and they look for him for advice and they love listening to him so that it built up time. As Anthony Conklin did with, I think he put it out 4 or 5 days ahead when he brought on Tony Robbins. And you keep putting it out because people want to, oh, wait, Tony Robbins is going to be on? So like my friend Janice had on, who was it? Damon John, but she only gave a few hours notice. I was like, you need to get that out 3 days earlier.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people. Some people know who Simon Sinek is. I don't know, but he's got like number 2.
TED.
Yeah.
I know him from TEDx.
Yeah, he was here. He was on Blab, and hardly anybody knew it back then. If you go back and look at that Blab, it was pretty. You got to wait till about 17 minutes before they actually got everything going. But you know, we here's how we do that. You know, we're getting a little bit away from the branding part, because what I need to do now is make those images simpler. I got that part of. I believe me, I appreciate that. But our team, Michelle, who you hear us referring to as the Wrangler, and she's the one that keeps up. She is. We've got a whole.
She's in Jersey. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, well,
you're welcome, Michelle.
Yeah, so yeah. I'm not going to get into that, but we have what's called how to create a blab. Like it's a checklist and a spreadsheet that's already got the tweets, and we've already got all of that scheduled. What the hashtags are going to be, and you know when they go and who the guests. Because this is next week. I mean, we got guys of your level that's coming in to visit with us. You know, we got Dustin Stout coming in, is going to be doing how to brand next week. Miss Eileen, who came in, is going to be with us next week. Mia Voss is coming in. You know, we got you know, some really good people that's coming in to share what it is they do. So we have that part done. It's actually going to be a service that we are going to start providing at the end of this, because there's a case study going on. It's like, if you're going to schedule these out and you're going to get these images across these 5 networks, how are you going to do that and still focus on, like, I don't focus on that. I kind of help people learn how to do it, but I try to focus on making sure that when I talk to you, that I'm not completely lost about who you are and what you do. You know, that's what my focus is primarily on right now.
I mean, I know it's basic, and a lot of people call it marketing 101 and everything else, but being consistent is the biggest thing, whether it's you're consistently posting, whether it's consistently anything. But when it comes to branding and using show cards and using the graphics, consistency comes into play just as much as the same as anything else. In my opinion.
I want to go over and answer a couple of questions. I've got John Benz over here. I'm going to bring his up. My logo is my initials in my circle. My personal one's the same way. I recommend simple, stick to 2 colors. You got any comments about that?
It is keeping it simple. I you know, a lot of people say, you know, I have my red background on my picture, which everybody is, you know, consistent with. They see the red, they know it's me. You know, I think keeping it simple I agree with that. I think sticking to 2 colors is very important. There are some examples of multicolor situations that are good, but for the general, 2 colors is really the best situation, because people don't want to be confused. People don't want to sit and look at logos and try to figure them out. And if it's too flashy and it's too everything else, you want it simple, precise, but distinctive. And that's a key word that I think a lot of people forget. You want to keep it simple, but you want it to be distinctively yours, so that it's on everything. It should be on your signatures. It should be on everything you do, so that when they see it now on Blab, it reminds them who you are.
I am going to smile for the camera here for a moment, because I'm going to take Bill's advice about let's break 100 folks, please tweet. So I'm getting one of those animated, you know, gifts to send out right now. So please join us. And now I'm going to ask Ron. Ron, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just taking it all in, because we've been getting so much good information. Again, you know, I'm just going to have to play the replay back and listen intently. I do have one question. Things can affect.
Before you say the question, Craig Carpenter just put a comment in there that I just want to read out, because it is so true. He's in a lot of Facebook groups, and the number one problem that entrepreneurs face when it comes to graphics, they keep tweaking it to death. They keep changing it. And that's what I'm talking about. And Craig is 100% correct. Stay consistent. Find something that you like and that you're good with, and use it over and over and over again, because then what happens is it becomes part of your brand. Everybody's always tweaking. Oh, I can make it better. It can be better. It can be better. It can be better. If you're concentrating on so much making it better, then it's still confusing people.
You just answered what I was going to ask.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You stole the guy's thunder. Come on.
No,
Craig answered it. He wrote the comment, and I agreed with it, so I wanted to bring it up.
That's great. No, that's great. Terrific. Yeah.
Okay, and they don't do it for graphics.
So thank Craig for answering the question, not me.
Yeah. Answer, then give the question. Yeah, okay. So,
yeah, Johnny Carson. Blue. Here we go.
Blue. What is it? No, I'm just teasing. Okay, so Ron, do you have anything else that you would want to ask then, or is it time to start getting you the time police, man? You want to start getting?
We're over already. I know that.
Yeah, we on these things we know we go over. We can go a little bit longer. It's there's I just now I want to ask it and I don't want to ask it.
Oh, just ask it.
Okay. Robert, are there things out there that can happen that can affect your brain, your brand? It affects your brain, that's for sure. But that affects your brand, and how do you handle that?
Oh, there's tons of things that can affect your brand, whether it's personal or business related. Wow, how do you handle it? Listen, everybody knows I'm going through the whole situation myself right now. And it's a hard situation. It becomes down to believing in yourself and believing in whatever that's going on. Get back up on the horse. It's learn from it. Learn from a mistake you made, learn from a judgment call you've made, learn from anything else. But at the same time, keep plugging, because even if nothing's going on personally or business and that affects that way, people can try to do things, especially in the startup situation, and everything can be going right. And you try things and they don't work. So you tweak it. It's kind of like Facebook ads. A lot of people talk about Facebook ads. Oh my God, I didn't get any exposure on it. Well, look at things that have worked for you. Mm-hmm. Go back to the basics. Go back to situation. We talked about marketing 101 earlier, just being consistent. Go back to basic things and that were working, and then move them forward. But it's learning from everything that happens, whether it's how you spoke to a client, whether it's a personal thing going on that's affecting your business. Most people don't have the ability to separate things, especially when you're self-employed. I would probably say 90% of the people on Blab are self-employed. And when something goes on personally, it affects everything in your life. And it's the one thing I've learned right now, reaching out and talking to people. A lot of people have pride and don't want to say what's really going on in situations, and they don't want to give other people their sob stories. They feel they are, or they don't want to burden them with what's going on to make it look like bad advice or things like that. And there's a lot of people that are willing to talk to you freely and just, for 10 minutes or whatever. And it might put you back on the right situation.
Thank you. Because I think we all go through this at some time in our life, or sometimes several times in our lives. And the information is very helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ron, you're right on target with that.
Now we're half Jersey.
Half Jersey. Yeah, that's really.
We have a different word for it.
I don't know if it's half when talking about Jersey. That might be like 75-25. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, first, I would like to say thank you for coming here today, because you have a value. You have given us information, and like Stan pointed out earlier, that is worth something. And you've given that freely. And now you've given this whole team something to really think about and work on to better our brand as a group and as individuals. And we really appreciate that, Robert. Really do.
Thank you.
And I would appreciate a gift with all you guys, because I got a great looking bunch here.
I'm going to do a screenshot. So just instead of a gift this time, I'm going to take a print screen. So all big smiles. Got it.
Thanks, bud. All right. So thank you again, because now we're going to go back and take all this great information that does have value. And we appreciate that you gave that to us and work on it as a team and put it into action. Thank you.
So what do you do?
What do I do?
Yeah. Yes.
I help out with the circadians. I'm a circadian, and I do a lot of the side work and the background work, and I am learning a lot with the circadians, but my passion is dementia support and awareness. My mother has the disease for 18 years. She's now 75 years old, and I help administer a Facebook group that was started by a patient. It's his group. And we have like a great team that runs 24/7, 365. So if anybody needs help with support and awareness, that's the place to be. You'll find it on my profile. But I also want to go out and tell my story about my mother. So I'm learning a lot of things.
Well, thanks for being with us. Thanks for all the stuff. That was one of the most productive times that yesterday that we spent. That was just I was just surprised. You know, you're the bomb for me. You really are. Who else we got up there that's in the circadians? We got
Nina.
Is Nina still here? I can't see her up there. Yes, there she is.
Hi.
Hi,
Thank
Nina.
you, Robert. And
Hey,
thank you.
Nina.
Please continue to work, because you know how I use the branding for myself. It's ninatrnkva.com. I worked with a young designer. She's fantastic, and I use this as a focus, because every time I open my channels, my profiles, it's in front of my eyes, and I remember why I'm up there, what I do there, and she's just illustrating it for me. So that brings the part of the noise aside from me, and I can do what I want to do. So please be consistent for doing what you love. It helps a lot of people, because it's very difficult to be on the social media. It takes so many qualities that I'm preparing a list for the circadians, and it's already a whole notebook.
Yes,
and maybe a book. Maybe a book.
Maybe a book. Maybe it may even be a encyclopedia size publication. So Nina is actually she's actually in the oldest city in Europe. Is it second oldest or the oldest city? It's been there for 7,000 years.
It is the oldest. Yeah, my name is Nina. For everybody who are here, it's the most knowledgeable audience I've been recently. Everybody knows a lot of things about branding. I come from Southeastern Europe. It's Bulgaria, and I'm doing digital communication skills. These are online workshops that I do with businesses that are not online, because from my age, there are industries that denied everything online. Now it's time for them to start having the basic skills. So this is my place. You can hire me for Google Plus collections. And thank you, Robert, for following the Circadian live streaming video collection. I'm working on it. So that's Google business pages, Google brand pages. I look for consistency starting from the boss.
She's actually being a little, she's not really telling you as much as she could. She actually won an award over in Europe for her work on collections. She had like the best one or something like that. And over there, she's quite good at collections. You know, it's one of those things when somebody starts talking about them, and I mean, I'm an easy guy to confuse, but you know, she just talks about collections and I go, what do you want me to do? You know, like, tell me where I'm supposed to post. And is Robert frozen?
No, he's
I
he's
thought we had a
listening
mannequin.
intently. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I had a mannequin up there for a minute.
Yeah, happy that I could share and meet you online, and thank you. And really, graphics is something that we are going to change and be more consistent, I'm sure. Thank you for your time and advice. See you.
I'm going to ask one of your personal friends, Chef Dennis, if he is still there. Well, Tony, yeah, let's get Tony in here. Tony is a circadian, and Chef is going to be interviewed next week, by the way. Hey, Tony.
Hello, guys. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm having all kinds of technical problems today. I tried to stay in the stream, and my iOS devices were crashing on Blab. Actually, I have a virus on my computer, so I just figured that out. And so I'm hoping that I can get through this. I just wanted to say, Robert, what I was able to catch, I enjoyed. It was value. And as Michelle said, you brought some information for us to think about. And I appreciate you sharing with us today.
Thank you.
And I just appreciate your commitment and steadfastness to being professional. And so I just wanted to share with you guys, today marks 103 days for me that I have been off my 3 different diabetic medications. And I've lost significant weight, and I'm making a dramatic transformation in my life. And I'm an advocate for diabetes, and because although we know that there is an epidemic in this country, we're not aware that there are over 80 million people that are walking around with it who are not diagnosed, or they are pre-diabetic. And so I try to share that information as much as possible. But again, I just wanted to come in and share that with you, and also say, again, Robert, I appreciate you being here and sharing with the circadians. I'm a circadian, and I've been a circadian now for about 3 weeks officially, and watching before that. And so I'm happy about, being here, learning what I've had to learn, been able to learn, and being able to contribute to the circadians. And I'm going to get off so that some of these people that have your back and are, fans of yours can share. So take care. As again, Robert, I'm glad, we were able to connect over the last couple of weeks, following each other and connecting on Facebook and Twitter. And so thanks again so much for sharing with us today. Stan, Ron, thank you so much for allowing me to be a part of the circadian group. I really appreciate it. And to the other circadians as well. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Until somebody else gets on, I'm going to promote myself. What I do is I do engraving. I engrave on glass. I do artwork on glass and on wine bottles. That happens to be it's hard to see, but it's a wedding invitation on a glass vase. It's just tough to see without the proper setup. And that's what I do. And for those people who want that special gift, they can get in touch with me, and I can personalize it, even if it's putting a thank you letter or what we call a forever letter on something that you want to give to somebody special. So that's what I do. Sorry for the self-promotion, but I had to get it in.
And Robert's got to get it out of here in 5 minutes, and we've stretched this out to about an hour. So I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to do as much as I can really quick. Mr. Rose, all you do is you click on when somebody puts the Q in there, it leads it over to puts it in the left-hand column. We cover that in day 2, which is how to host a blab, every Tuesday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And Tony's going to start doing those in the afternoon a little bit later. I agree with Alice. I watched that very thing that she did. It was top of the line for me, Alice. And Craig, I agree with you. That's a problem that we have. This is a small concept that I've only been thinking about since 1996. I'm one of the older guys that's been doing this stuff for a long, long time. And now I'm going to go over to Chef Dennis, because you know that guy over there really well too.
Howdy, partner. I'm talking about Brandon, Texas style. Now, Robert, I'm so happy to see you here today. It's good to have you in here. And, you know, everybody makes mistakes, if that's what we're talking about, and everybody's human, and, you know, life goes on. And anybody that's not willing to forgive someone else, there's a special place in hell for you. So
thanks, Dennis.
No problem. And I might see you there too. You never know. But
Great.
I'm not saying I don't break wine bottles, but I empty them.
As long as you're cooking, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah, there'll be heat, that's for sure.
A lot of barbecue.
A lot of barbecue.
Well,
but I'm a circadian, I think. Am I circadian?
Yeah, you're circadian. You're an honorary circadian, man. You're like, we always look at him and go, wow, because you're out there doing the deal.
Thank you very much, and I'm happy to be part of this group because you guys rock. You really do provide an amazing service, and I think anybody that helps other people, Robert, you do it, Ron, you do it, Stan, everybody in the Circadians does it. You know, it's what we need to do, and you need to help people without any thought to getting something in return, because that's life, man. That's the way it goes.
John. No, we're not professional blabbers. I'm going to monetize my blab stream. We're not professional blabbers. We're professionals, but we're not professional blabbers. I'm going to answer one thing really quickly because it's not been brought up and said, and this is the answer that I'm going to give anybody that ever asks. Okay, for me, Robert answered any questions that I had about whatever the situation is, because we all mess up. We all make mistakes. But he answered it for me in 5 words. I'm sorry, I screwed up. That's what he said. Done deal. You know,
end of story.
From then on, it's like, okay, how do we get back to what's the deal? You know, because anybody that can't utter them words for me, they certainly don't belong in here. You know, not in our group anyway. And so we love you to death, Robert. We know what value that you've brought, and we think the same of Chef and everybody that's been in here. And I have seen some rocking guys. Yeah, you can't spread the message, Craig, but I would love to have a conversation with you about what we're trying to do there. Robert, is anything that you want to do before the time Nazi, sitting over there to the left of me, before he starts? I mean, he's going to say he does it. He says, I don't know where you're going, but you can't stay here. Right. So before he gets that out of his mouth, I'm going to remind everybody that Chef is on Monday at 10 o'clock on how to use Blab. So if you want to know how he sets up all of his cameras and all that stuff, that'd be a good Blab to attend. What about you, Robert? You got any closing stuff for us?
No, really. I mean, just branding is just being out there. It's showing what you know. It's showing your knowledge. It's being consistent and just keep at it.
Robert, before we go, you're welcome here anytime.
Thank you. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Stan, and all the others, everybody else. Thank you very much.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop the recording, and I'm going to tell everybody goodbye. See you tomorrow.